Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about something super important, the amendments to the rape laws. Let's see how this changes the future. This long-standing battle of courage not only opened a door to justice for countless silent victims, but also brought a touch of humanity to the cold legal texts. Subtitles adding warmth of humanity. With the frail body, it shook the oppressive wall, empowering victim. For the first time, it showed strength and dignity. Ishi's name is no longer just his own history, it's a collective voice for courageous women of this era. Today, I'm recommending a movie called The Flying Box Diary. In 2013, in Akita, Ishi met Yamaguchi Shizue while working at a bar. At that time, he was a sophomore majoring in journalism in NY, and Yamaguchi Shizue headed a major Japanese TV station. Not only that, he was also an author for then Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's album, a talented sophomore in college. Chance industry exchange left both excited, especially with Yamaguchi promising that if they ever need anything, they could reach out to him anytime. However, this glorious encounter was not the beginning, as one industry mentor turned out to be rather shady. In 2015, Yamaguchi invited Ishi to meet in Tokyo under the pretense of an internship, and that night, they drank sake together. Usually good with his drinks, he only had a little that night and ended up feeling woozy, eventually losing consciousness in the restroom. I couldn't breathe. It felt like a mountain was sitting on my head. I thought this would be the end for me. At precisely 5:30 a.m., Ishi panicked and escaped the hotel, returning to his apartment where he instinctively took a shower, but that also meant missing the best chance to gather evidence. For the next few days, he was in a daze until a childhood friend reminded him. He had to report it, and he finally mustered the courage to do so, only to be met with cold indifference from the police. The police asked me why I was so crying, saying, "You don't look sad enough." But I had been crying at home. All those unspeakable pains had built up into a mountain in my heart. What came next was even more disheartening. Under the gaze of 3 male officers, he had to lie down on an uncomfortable-looking blue mat, facing life-size mannequins. They wanted him to recount the unbearable experience, with flash photography stabbing his eyes and causing nausea. They even filmed it as if it were a series of violations all over again. Each photo felt like a repeated invasion of his trauma, tearing at both his body and mind. The entire process of filing a case was convoluted, with police claiming such incidents were all too common. Failure to gather evidence immediately after the incident resulted in a case that couldn't be filed. Facing such indifferent responses, he had to suppress his inner fear and continue negotiating with the perpetrator. Requesting an apology, he found that his once enthusiastic mentor had suddenly turned cold. To his shock and anger, the perpetrator claimed in an email that it was his own seduction. That statement cut deep into his last line of defense, leaving him feeling profoundly helpless. Even though the police obtained hotel surveillance, witness statements, and crucial DNA evidence. However, just when the arrest warrant was issued, a high-ranking official interrupted the operation. The person who assaulted him had previously written 2 autobiographies for the Prime Minister. Ultimately, the case was shut down and handed off to another department, with no progress after a whole year. In the end, all the hard work was met with a disheartening response. No charges would be filed. It felt like a crushing blow, sending him spiraling into despair. He slowly realized justice via law alone was futile, thus he chose to share his story publicly. Hoping to draw public attention and instigate change, he held a press conference in 2017. He became the first woman in Japan to publicly identify herself and share her story using her real name. However, just when he decided to go public, his sister called, adding to his stress. She said, "You better save face for me, or I'll be seen as a fool." Despite his family's objections, his determination to seek justice remained unwavering. He was not just fighting for himself, but also for the silent women seeking hope. Each time something happened, it was a step towards saving himself. It was also the light he ignited for himself amidst the darkness. Throughout the whole interview, he never wore sunglasses and always bravely faced the camera. Despite the storm raging inside, his gaze stayed resolute. However, he didn't expect that people would focus not on his pain, but on his outfit. What I wore has somehow turned into my problem. This kind of logic is so absurd, yet deeply rooted in prejudice against women. His body, his dignity, and his suffering were viewed as self-inflicted, all for just one button. His entire experience seemed to become insignificant, casually eroded and judged. He did nothing wrong. The fault lies with those indifferent gazes seeking excuses to blame him. It's a really strange world, along with those who commit the crimes. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you next time.